Hi everyone, welcome to a video for day 4 of the Cheltenham Festival 2012, which kicks off as always with the Triumph Hurdle. First horse to start on here is Grametti, trained by Alan King. He's the current 5-1 favourite. Got good course form, winning on trials day as a result of a disqualification actually, but even still came up the hill very well, very good battler before winning as he wanted at Kempton last time. The one worry is here he has had this injury that forced him to miss 3 days training. His final series piece of work should have been last Wednesday. He ended up having it on Saturday. But luckily, it wasn't a massive setback before the festival. It would have only been light work anyway, so I don't think that'll make too much of a difference. The other horse I like in this is also trained by Alan King, called Boulder Success. Great win at Ascot last time. Travelled well, accelerated well, very fluent hurdler, and keeps a lot up his sleeve, so he should have enough to come up the hill. He's improving all the time, and once again, trained by Alan King. It could be worth having a forecast here between Grametti and Boulder Success, 5-1 and 8-1. It could be a nice price forecast for a 1-2 for Alan King. Baby Mix is also in the mix. Good form recently. Excellent win last time at Kempton. The worry is the run before last, it was a shocking effort over course and distance at Cheltenham. And I know he's done well there before, but when you have such a bad experience, it makes you wonder on a young horse like this, the psychological effect on it. Will he remember it was something he didn't like on that day, which could come back? The actual other current leader is Sadler's Risk, though I wouldn't be having 5-1 about him. He was sadly beaten by Baby Mix last time. He won on his debut, but he's only had 2 runs. I just don't know if he's got the experience for the cut and thrust of a race like this. So my idea of a 1-2-3, I think actually Boulder Success will go and win this race from Grametti and Baby Mix. So yeah, and also I'd have a bit of a saver forecast, twist forecast maybe on Grametti and Boulder Success. Next up is the County Hurdle. Trained in Ireland is Moon Dice, who's the current 8-1 favourite. He's been back, like losing's out the question on this, and Ireland do land some sizable touches in these handicaps, so that's worth following. Apparently the better ground will suit him better than what he's been running on so far. I actually like the chances of Paintball if he gets into the race. I actually backed him at 20-1 and won the Imperial Cup on Saturday. He'd been running well in races, but just not finding anything. Since then, he's now had a breathing operation, and the reality is, he won as he liked in the Imperial, which you'd never see. It was 4.5 lengths. He could have won by 20 if he wanted. Travelled well throughout. Didn't come off the bridle at any stage. Didn't even hardly get whipped, so he hardly knows he's had a race. So he should be reasonably fresh. If he gets in as well, it'll be off bottom weight. So 10-1, even though it's not a great price. Bear in mind he was 20-1 at the weekend. 10-1 on him looks like a decent chance. Snap Tie, if he was back to his best form, for Philip Hobbs is the class horse of the race. He's on a great mark, but he has had a 2-year layoff, and Philip Hobbs isn't necessarily the best at getting him ready first time out after a long time. One horse where it's got a similar comment that applies to Paintball is Prospect Wells. He came very unlucky to be beaten by Steps to Freedom. He was actually really fancied for the Supreme Novice tomorrow on day 1. He's just not been finishing his racing since then. He's had a breathing up. He goes well fresh, and he's had a nice break since then. 16-1 could be a very big price on him if the breathing operation has worked. Also, one worth mentioning is Sire de Gruge, who got placed in the Imperial Cup because we know he can take 2 races quickly. He won at Wincanton straight after a run last time, so we know he'll go quick. But for me, my 4 against the field here, but obviously not going to back 4 because that would be crazy. I think Paintball can go in from Prospect Wells, Moon Dice, and I would watch the market for Snap Tie. If there's a bit of money for it, I think that would be a sign that the yard think they've got him there. If not, then Sierra de Gruge, you keep an eye out for that. Next up is the Albert Bartlett Hurdle, and the news is starting to filter through in the last 24 hours that Boston Bob is going for this race. He's now into 7-4. I can't see anything beating him in the race. He is a class horse. He'll be better on the better going. He's just got such a commanding presence at the end of his race. He'll have no problem staying. And I'd go as far as saying, knock out the odds on horses. He's my non-odds on nap of the festival. I just can't see anything getting near it. Rocky Creek shown bits and pieces of form. Beating the likes of Gullinburstier, Doncaster. He's classy, stays well, but I just don't think he's in the same league as Boston Bob at the moment. Over fences, though, I think this is going to be a real good horse over fences next year, Rocky Creek. Keep an eye out for that. And also, should run a good race is Brindisi Breeze. He stays very well and travels prominently and travels well throughout his races. The only worry is all the winning's been on soft ground. The good ground might be in his favour, but you're taking a chance. But for me, it's all about Boston Bob here, 7-4. They're in each way, Rocky Creek as well, possibly. Next up is the highlights of the 4 days, which is the Cheltenham Gold Cup. And we're going to actually start with Long Run, who's the existing champion. Brilliant win last year from Corto Star and Denman. The one thing I would say about it, for all it was impressive, Denman was older at the time, and we never really saw him again at the same level. And Corto Star, we all know he wasn't the same horse last year. This year, Corto Star's right back to his best and has smashed Long Run twice. The one thing that will be in Long Run's favour is the extended trip of 3 Mile 2, the races that they've been going over 3 miles. The uphill finish will come for it. So while he's been gaining at the end, this should be right up his street, and I can see him running a big race. Burton Port gave Long Run one hell of a run last time. It clearly stays well. Also trained by Nicky Henderson. The worry is here the bounce factor after a year off. It does happen. And Burton Port did have a tough race after such a long time, and I think the uphill finish and everything at Cheltenham might catch him out. Midnight Chase has got the best course form out of everyone with 5 wins, but he only came 5th last year. I just don't think he's got this level of class to step up to the Gold Cup. He was very good in the Argento and races like that, but I just don't think he's got the class for this type of race. And Bin Money as well, and good words for Synchronised. He'll stay well, and he's reasonably classy horse, but he's not of this level for me. It was a good win in the Lexus, but once again that was on heavy go, and it's been Welsh National heavy trip, and I just don't think he's gonna get it. There's too many classy horses in it, and that brings me round to the superstar that is Corto Star. We all know what's happened after his school in full, and it's been almost half daily bulletins coming in here. But I honestly think Clive Smith, his owner, would not let him go unless he's 100%. We're at 11:45 now. The announcement is due any minute now, whether he's going or not. And I'm one of the. I can't explain enough just how good Corto Star is, not just for the sport of racing, but how fortunate we all are to have been in a generation of Corto Star. He is an absolute machine, and I pray he comes home safe. And, I just hope he wins. And do you know what? I think he's going to. I think after everything that's gone with him, he's just going to outpoint Long Run here. If he gets his jumping ready with Corto Star, you'll know after a circuit. And I'm going to be nostalgic here. And I'm also going with the form. He's beaten him twice. Come on, Corto Star, one last time. It'll be great if you can do it. So my 1, 2, 3 is Corto Star, Long Run, and I still think Burton Port could run a big race. The race after the Gold Cup is for the amateurs, which is the Fox Hunters Chase. And the horse I like here is On the Fringe. Came very close last year. The trainers come out to say he's a lot better horse this year, and I do believe him. And I think everything is ready for a big run from On the Fringe. The class horse of the race is Chapeau Turgeon. I don't know if he's better over a slightly less trip, but he has got course form, and if he stays, he's going to be bang there. And one to mention, of course, is former Grand National favourite Cloudy Lane. He came back in some Hunter Chases and run some real good races, actually. First of all, for Donald McCain's wife, and then with Donald, now he's back in Donald McCain's yard. They've got a good record. It's got a good record around here as well. And at 14-1, I wouldn't dispel you from backing Cloudy Lane. So my 1, 2, 3, I think On the Fringe will win from Chapeau Turgeon. And if you're looking for an each way, nothing wrong in old Cloudy Lane. The second to last race of the festival is the Martin Pipe Conditional Jockeys race, and Cape Dutch has been well backed into 16-1 here. He's in decent form, though I just don't know enough about him really to say if he'll go on the course. My idea of the winner is Bourne, who I've tipped up for another race. I just think whatever race he goes for at the festival will be right up his street. Ignore the phone there, thanks. He stays very well, and the McCain Yard does have access to some very, very good conditional jockeys. And I just think, given that the trip will be run and the race will be run to suit, he's my idea of a good thing in this. Decoy is from the David Pipe Yard, who would love nothing more than to win the race for named after his father. He seems to have been laid out for this. He goes from the front, but I just don't think he's ready for a race like this. Ted Spread still in the betting, no for me after the weekend. He just travels well, finds nothing, and I think the hill will catch him out. Ted Spread is across through that one. If you're looking for 2 big prices, have a look at American Trilogy, who's come from the Nichols Yard back to hurdles now, and he's got good course form. He won the county hurdle a couple of years back, so if he gets back to anything like that, should go close at 20-1. Also, Mushmere, who was very tough front runner for Nicky Henderson, 33-1. It wouldn't surprise me if he's got a couple of good conditionals if one of them gets launched into this, so that could run a big race. Final race of the festival is the Grand Annual, and I'm actually going for Oiseau de Nuit to retain his crown from last year. He won it last year. It wasn't a freak because he went on to win at Aintree again in the spring. He's got good course form. This is the target, and I think this is the type of horse to go in again. French Opera's got a lot of weight, but he's got great course form and obviously came second to Sprinter Sacre. And, I think, he could run a very good race as well. Also worth mentioning the Hardy Cumberchois for Alan King, but for me, it's about Oiseau de Nuit. to regain his crown from last year. Well, that's it. Day 4's finished. By now, the festival will be finished. I hope these tips come in. I'd love to know what you guys post, and thanks for a couple of you given what you're doing. And have a great Cheltenham, everyone. All the very best. And if people are interested, I might make a couple of these videos as well for the Aintree Festival, which is down the road from me. And yeah, if you are, just drop us a note and let us know what you think. Thanks a lot. Take care. Have a good Cheltenham. All the best.